Yep, we are live. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of This is Tech Talks, and I'm Santosh with my co-host Deep. Hey Deep, how are you? We cannot hear you, Deep. I think there is some problem with your microphone, probably. Okay, we'll come back to Deep. So in today's episode, we have Sooraj joining us from Null Community. So hey, Sooraj, thanks a lot for joining us, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Santosh. Thank you, Santosh and Deep, for having me. It's an honor to be here. I work as a volunteer for the Null community. I also host some of the sessions and talks of Null
Mm-hmm.
community, and I also help manage the community. Um, so one of our main missions for Null community is basically to spread security awareness, and I suppose that's what we are trying to do here as well.
Can you tell us more about what Null Community does in depth, so our viewers know okay what Null Community is and how, in case someone wants to connect or join this community, can you just give some pointers?
Yeah, sure. So Null Community, so we are an international open security community. We
Mm-hmm.
have our chapters all across almost all metropolitan cities in India. We also
Mm-hmm.
have our chapters in Singapore, Dubai, Kabul, Amsterdam, and so on. We are, constantly trying to expand the community as we speak. And we do a lot of things. Basically, it's not like we do only this activity. So some of the most popular events that we do is null talks that I host, and the other things are, so that we have something called null hamla, so that which focuses on offensive security, and similarly we have something for defensive security. And there are also conferences. We have our own YouTube channel as well. And we invite a lot of speakers. We invite CEOs, CTOs, CPOs, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, we are trying to get insights from those people and then trying to spread awareness with the people. We also have
Okay.
a job portal. So there is something called Null Jobs. So
Mm-hmm.
everything is there in our link tree. Null link tree is there. So you can
Okay.
find all the links there. So basically, one thing I would like to say here is, not one person knows everything, right? So if we
Mm-hmm.
are, in a community like forum, right, everyone can help each other and share their knowledge. So
Right.
it's a win-win situation. So that's why I would highly recommend you to join, your community. And if people are interested in security, privacy, and stuff like that, they can join us. And we are actually very inclusive. So it's not like you
Mm-hmm.
need to be an expert or a profession. You need to have a cybersecurity career or something like that. No, nothing like that. So we accept anyone in our community. So that's the important thing, right? So I mean, it's pretty obvious by now. We are in the digital era. The uh,
Right.
video chat is going on. Everything is digital. So it's quite obvious that we need to be aware of certain things that we do online. So we be safe.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's essential to be part of a community and um, to share stuff basically. You can learn more
Okay.
about us in our website as well. So our website is null.community. So you can check us out
Mm-hmm.
there as well. And the other thing is, we are a non-profit organization. So it's not like
Mm-hmm.
we have this or that, because when it comes to certain organizations, you might observe uh, that certain organizations have some hidden motives and so on. So we try to be as transparent as possible. So yeah, that's a bit about us. And it's completely volunteer driven, by people like us. So there is no
Mm-hmm.
central entity controlling us or anything. So we are a group of people who are really passionate about spreading security and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Cool. That's great to know that. So, Just to ask, I mean, then how about how actually the community makes money? How or from where the money comes in?
Right. So there are we mainly accept donations. So
Mm-hmm.
as of now, you can only donate to us if you'd like, via our payment link. So everything goes only for the cause. No one takes a salary or anything. So everything
Mm-hmm.
is only for the cause, and it helps us serve you better, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, it also helps us to organize certain events, give goodies, stickers and so on for our volunteers, to help them motivated. And yeah, like that.
Right. So let's come back to the security, right? So because we are here to talk about the security. So Suraj, what does the security means to you?
Right. So I used to work as a security analyst in a startup. So I mean, I try to secure stuff,
Mm-hmm.
in websites, uh, APIs, and networks mainly. So
Mm-hmm.
what I do is, I try to find vulnerabilities, and we send a particular report to developers, and the developers fix them.
Mm-hmm.
And we are pen testers, so you can check out, just check Wikipedia on like who is a pen tester and what we do. So basically, we find vulnerabilities, exploit them, and then we do
Mm-hmm.
a report. That's just the overview of what we do.
Mm-hmm.
um, and I also volunteer for the community, as I said. So what security means to me is, I mean, it means a lot to me because it's my profession and it's also my
Mm-hmm.
passion. uh, and I also advocate a lot for privacy and um, digital freedom and open source softwares and so on, because I think it's really essential for, I mean, this would probably uh, look a bit too much, but I think it's really essential for entire mankind. I mean, if you see different revolutions, right, starting from, let's say, a white revolution, as in, like, milk, industrial revolution, now digital revolution, and so on. um, this digital era has played a very important role in everyone's life, right? So privacy is something that's very, very important, on an individual level and also on a national level. So
Mm-hmm.
if you see on a macro scale, um, it's essential for a democracy to function properly. So let me give you an example, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in India, we use a lot of apps. uh, Not only India, you can take any country in the world. We use a lot of apps. Almost all apps collect certain data. Some
Right.
apps are more transparent about what data that they collect, and what data, they process, how they process the data, and what kind of data they store, for how much time they store, and stuff like that, right? The thing is, what we are trying to do is, sometime, most of the time, most companies are not transparent about it. So the thing is, we have to scrutinize those companies so that they don't take advantage of the average Joe. That is one thing. Next thing is, open sourcing softwares, right? Why do we
Mm-hmm.
need open source softwares? Because we if you had been following our Null Talks, we had the CEO of Minds, Bill Ortman. So I quote him. He says, we need open source software because we don't want to stunt the innovation. So, for example,
Mm-hmm.
let's say company A makes a software, company B makes a software. Almost company A and B makes the same software. But think about it. Let's say we have, for example, Linux, as in the distros, or LibreOffice, for example. The entire code is open source, meaning everyone can
Right.
view it, audit it, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say I have some idea, I'll just go to GitHub or GitLab and add a feature, or post an issue or stuff like that. So anyone can contribute it. So we can develop the software for betterment of everyone, right?
True.
So in that way, open source softwares are very good. Now, from a privacy and security standpoint, let's say an app is secure, or let's say an organization claims the app to be very secure or very encrypted, and so on, right? um, Now, how do you ensure that what they are saying is true? See, what I'm saying is it's okay to be skeptic, uh, you know
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time you should not take their words for granted, right?
Right.
So if
Right.
you if we just go ahead and uh, just trust what they say in the website. I can say anything in my website, it need
True.
not be true. How are you going to verify that it is true?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say an application is secure, or let's say an application says it's end-to-end encrypted and so on. How are you going to verify that it is what they say it is? Only if you open source the entire code. So that's one reason that I do it. And of course, digital freedom. The thing is, in a lot of countries, like say China or North Korea, or there is no free speech if we talk about it. So how are, okay, so for people who are in those countries, and people who feel stuck, and those people cannot give their opinions in public, they will be punished for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So so what are people going to do about it? So those people can go online. And again, the thing is, let's say we have certain mainstream applications. Let's say we have Facebook or Twitter or so on. What if the country you are in blocks those websites? What if you are not supposed to access certain websites? So I mean, how are you going to interact with people around the world? How are you going to post your opinions about certain issues that's going on in the world? Let's say you're an activist, or you're a journalist, or let's say you are part of a company, and they are doing something unethical, and you want to report it. Be a whistleblower. So these kind of people are highly targeted people. How are you going to save these people, right? So that's only possible if you give them a platform. Now you are not giving access to these platforms, so that is wrong. So how are they going to access it? Via something like a Tor browser, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
can circumvent these censorship by using Tor browser. So that's why if you see, most websites have onion site as well, to help these kind of highly targeted people. So that's what I stand for. Freedom and free speech and so on. Yeah, we can talk about this stuff as we go on.
Oh, nice, nice. So, Suraj, right? So, in countries like India, actually, no one cares much about privacy, right? I mean, we even
Yeah.
share our Aadhaar card number as like anything. Everywhere it is available with everyone. So, what is your suggestions when it comes to securing our data?
Okay. So let us first understand a couple of things here. So security and privacy are different things. A lot of people
Yeah.
think that it's the same thing, but it's quite different
Mm-hmm.
actually. So when I say that
Nice.
my data is secure, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there are certain principles, right? So how is it secure? Is it secure in rest, or is it secure in transit, and so on? So is the data encrypted, right? So
Mm-hmm.
when we are talking about privacy, who can see your data? Is it only you? Is it the company that you have the service with? Is it your family members? Everything. But um, on a broad scale, I would say that privacy is more of freedom. What you can uh,
Mm-hmm.
talk to, like you can talk to anyone. It's more to do with uh, your personal choices. That's the thing. So if you're okay, let me give you an example. Let us take a couple of apps that you use on an everyday basis: Twitter, LinkedIn, and you order something, let's say, pizza or something. So all these kind of apps, and let's say want to go somewhere, you order your Uber, right?
Mm-hmm.
Almost it's there in all countries, right? Now, uh, what these apps can do is they can track you, like, what you do, what you like, and they can sort of try and manipulate you as well. So if they know about who you are, what you are, and they analyze your behavior, they
Mm-hmm.
can give you targeted advertisement. And a lot of people I have seen, they argue that, I don't care about that. I want to see advertisements. I like the products that they give. Fine, that's totally fine. uh,
Mm-hmm.
but but the thing is, you have to be given a choice. Are you given a choice whether you have to be tracked or not? That is one thing.
Right.
Second thing is, if they know everything about you, let's say your religious beliefs, let's
Mm-hmm.
say your political opinions, let's say your ethnicity, everything. So remember the time I said, it's really essential for democracy.
Mm-hmm.
They can manipulate you. Like, what do I mean by that? They can alter your political opinions. They can challenge elections. If they manipulate people, they can change the course of the country, right?
That's
uh,
true.
and and this is not something new. Everyone has heard of Cambridge Analytica case, during
Mm-hmm.
the, I think, US 2020 election and stuff like that. So see, the thing is, that's only popular, and that's what has come in the eyes of media. What about the things that never came to media?
Mm. Right.
I talked about censorship in countries. So press freedom is also not there in such countries. If I'm a journalist, I want to report something, I can't, because my government doesn't allow it. So how do you safeguard those kind of people? How do you preserve the rights of those citizens? So yeah, these are some important issues that we can talk about and stuff like that.
Cool. So yeah, now of course, I am clear about what privacy and the data security means. So when it comes to data security, so Suraj, how we can actually secure that data?
Okay, so um, we should start with uh, using privacy centric tools.
Mm-hmm.
So I know, if I tell you to buy this, buy that. uh, I know a lot of people have budget constraints as well. So see, the basic thing that people have to do is, I think, people are watching from YouTube and other social medias. So what is the
Mm-hmm.
basic thing that you can do with it? So for accessing YouTube, you would have an account with Google. First thing you
Right.
have to see is, have you enabled multi-factor authentication with Google? First, check that. Make sure you have a really secure password. What do I mean by that? Small case, uppercase, special characters, numbers, and so on. Now the thing is, sorry, um, I have seen a lot of people use the same password everywhere. I'll tell you what's the problem there.
True.
If I try, so there is an attack called social engineering, right? So
Mm-hmm.
by social engineering, I get to know you and I try to manipulate you. I can predict your password. I can guess your password, right? So you will be prone to social engineering attacks if you have the password in your head and so on, right? Now, how do we prevent that? Is by using a password manager.
Mm.
Use different passwords for everything, and you don't need to remember anything. How can someone extract a very sensitive data like your password from you without even you knowing it?
Mm.
Right, so you just have to remember one password that will be your master password of your password manager.
Right.
Again, when it comes to password manager, you have to make sure that the password manager that you use is secure. It's not some surveillance tool used by a big company to know what kinds of accounts you have in which websites and what's your password, right?
True.
So you have to so what I prefer again is an open source password manager, a very secure one, which has zero knowledge of what we
Mm-hmm.
do with it. What is zero knowledge encryption? um, that means, let's say I'm using a service, for example,
Mm-hmm.
let's say I'm using YouTube. Of course YouTube knows everything you do.
Right.
That's how their algorithm works, right? uh, but how do I do something that even the service doesn't know, right? So that's what is zero knowledge encryption. So the tool I use is Bitwarden, and I would highly recommend others also to use it. But also keep this in mind. When I recommend some tools, I am recommending at certain point of time when I'm sure that it is pretty secure.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe in a 5 to 10 years, there might be certain really critical vulnerabilities that I might tell you that don't use it because it's
Right.
not secure anymore. So the tools keep changing, but at this point of time, I trust this more, and I would trust this more than any other password manager and so on. Now, talking about multi-factor authentication, right? Um, I use something called Authy. I know a lot of people use Google Authenticator and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with Google Authenticator is that if you lose your mobile, you are probably locked out.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But there is a way to go, circumvent that as well. Like, you download the backup codes and then restore your account, but not many people know how to do it. My thing is use an authenticator app that supports multiple devices. You have your authenticator app on your mobile device, your laptop, let's say your tablet, uh, and so on. Let's say if
Mm-hmm.
you have multiple laptops, have it in all your laptops. What
Right.
is the probability of all your devices getting stolen at the same time? Very less, right?
Yeah.
Probably one device at a time. So I would suggest an authenticator like that. But again, the thing is, this is not open source. Let's keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But again, here we have to see. One more thing I would like to say before moving on to the next one is, you have to find out what is best for you. I can suggest you the most privacy centric softwares and stuff, but usability, convenience, and so on also
Yeah.
matters. So you
Exactly.
have to you have to have that healthy balance of all. You can't say like I don't give a damn about my privacy. You can't say that, right?
Yeah.
So I
Exactly.
think I think we need to have that healthy balance. So I mean, what is the most secure option that we have? Switch off all your digital devices. But what's the point of having it,
Yeah.
right? So make sure of that. And when it comes to network, right? So I think the latest Wi-Fi protocol we have is WPA3, if I'm not mistaken. But if you have your router enabled in WPA3, that is the one that I would recommend. But I
Mm-hmm.
think many have the routers enabled with WPA2. So it's always recommended to use the latest standards, latest secure protocols. Also, update your operating system all the time, all the time. Update your browsers, update your softwares, your operating system, everything. Uh, the reason is that a lot of people just think that it's probably some UI update or some features, but it also comprises of your security updates. So let us take Microsoft Windows for example. It grabs majority of the market, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we have this tool called Microsoft Defender that's inbuilt. Now, how these
Yeah.
antiviruses work, there are different ways that antiviruses work. So one is matching the signatures of viruses and
Right.
so on, and then they blacklist that, okay, this is a virus and this is not a virus, and so on.
Right.
Now the thing is, you have to keep it on. You have to keep your firewall on. If you switch it off, then it's a problem. Now there is a problem here as well. Now, one thing we have to keep in mind is the antivirus itself is constantly monitoring you. Now, what will the highly targeted people do? They can't use things like Microsoft Windows
Mm-hmm.
because they have to, you know, even they see Microsoft as a threat, right? Because it's also taking a lot of your data. So for
True.
highly targeted people like those, they have to go
Mm-hmm.
for a much more secure operating system, something like Tails OS. So you can use a portable pen drive and just live boot the operating system, and then you will be untraceable. So people have to use something like that, so they are censorship resistant, and they'll have the maximum privacy. There are other operating systems like Cubase and so on, but again, the question for you is, what is your priority?
Exactly.
That uh, that is something I can't answer for you. Is your priority privacy, or do you want a balance, or is your priority just usability? I just want to use it.
Hmm.
So yeah, it depends from person to person. I can't give a generalized answer that this is best for everyone.
Sounds good. Yeah, so I think this is the last question probably. So, what are your thoughts on VPN? Because of course, a lot of people do use VPN to actually uh, just like secure their data or just to like treat that they are probably logging in from other country. So, what's your thought on that?
Okay, so okay, let's talk about so why people usually use VPN. There are certain websites that's not accessible in your
Exactly.
country, and that's why we have to use VPN. That's completely
Mm-hmm.
understandable. But if you see the current things that's going on in India,
Mm-hmm.
even VPNs will be monitoring you. So there is a new set of rules put in by, I think, certain
Mm-hmm.
in India. So VPNs are supposed to log every activity that you do.
Okay.
So let's first understand what a VPN is. So it's not like some magical application that circumvents everything and gives you maximum privacy. No. So a VPN is something that gives you a secure, encrypted sort of tunneling way where you connect to a different server. So basically, let's say I'm going to youtube.com.
Mm-hmm.
So what a VPN does is, how does the entire process work? If you ask, my device connects to the router, and then the router sends the uh, request to the server and so on, right? Something like that. But a VPN acts as the middleman for the server. So the server recognizes your device as if it's in Switzerland or Japan or South Korea or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically you are renting someone else's server for your use. Now here comes the question of trust. How much you trust a particular VPN service? So because VPN services are also they have to follow the laws of the land.
Okay.
A lot of people prefer applications that are grown in European Union because they have something called GDPR.
Mm-hmm.
GDPR is supposedly one of the strongest privacy laws in the world. So they trust services from Europe, right?
Right.
Whereas if you take something, a service from India,
Mm-hmm.
uh, we can't trust it much because we don't have strong privacy laws. And the
Exactly.
thing is, even the government is sort of doing a surveillance thing by forcing VPNs to log all the activities of users. So a VPN is definitely important, but choose your VPN properly. So
Mm-hmm.
I have listed a couple of VPNs in my Twitter handle as well. So one is Proton VPN, another is Malware, and iVPN. So these
Mm-hmm.
are the things I would recommend. So if you want to anonymously register for a VPN, um, you can, but at the same time, I would say go for a paid service instead of a free one. Always ask this question: why is a service free? What are
Exactly.
they getting? What are they getting? So if something is free, aren't you the product?
Yeah, exactly. That's
So
true.
you're using all Google services for free. Why would someone give anything for free? So they are
Hmm.
basically collecting all your data and making money out of you. So you have to be, you know, aware of what kind of data you give.
True.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you for answering that question. So I think we are at the end of the podcast. So now, is there anything you want to promote on the channel?
Um. So okay. So one thing I would suggest you all to do is join communities, because
Mm-hmm.
that's where you can start everything. So I learned a lot of stuff from the community only. So if I am here at this level, like if I know even a little bit of what I know,
Mm-hmm.
I think most of the credit goes to the community, because I have learned from seniors of the community.
Right.
So join a community first, and
Mm-hmm.
try to explore stuff. So if you are into development, like I think a lot of people want to get into software, IT, and so on, right? Because obviously, it's the digital era, and there are a lot of perks, including salary and everything. So what I would suggest is try joining open source communities. What I mean by that is, explore GitHub, like explore how GitHub works, GitLab, explore how GitLab works. So if you are also passionate about blockchain and stuff, that's also booming. Try to join
Mm-hmm.
something like the Ethereum R&D community. Learn stuff. Learn how you can contribute to them. Be impactful. That's what will make you stand out of the crowd. So people who are getting placed in top companies, they have stellar resumes. How? Because they have contributed to open source projects. You
Right.
can contribute to open source projects just like that. You can add a code as you wish, because it's been audited and it's been seen by hundreds of thousands of people all across the world. It's not an easy task. So
Right.
if you can contribute to, say, Ethereum, or you know any top open source projects, that means you have some stuff that is very valuable. So yeah, I would say just learn, explore, and learn from your mistakes. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for answering that. And yeah, we are at the end of the session. At the end of the session now. So thanks a lot again, Suraj, for joining us. And probably we can have you again to talk about some other topics. Like I really like the conversation around the privacy. Probably we can have an entire session based on privacy. So thanks again for joining. And to the listeners as well, in case you are listening to us, we will be having our next session next Friday, I think. Let me just confirm. Probably it should be, yeah, it's on Thursday. Sorry, Thursday, 23rd. So we will be talking about message brokers. So in case you're interested, to join us at 5:30 p.m. CET, and we'll see you. Bye, everyone.
Bye everyone. Thank you.